What's up, guys? It's the Ginger
and the Bear.
And y'all, there's been some matchmaking, and we need you to make a match between your mouse and the like button.
Oh, the segue.
So make
shilling.
Like for daily MMA videos, guys. It's just for the algorithm, all right?
So I was over here in my basement doing laundry and shit like that. Wesley comes over here, pushes my wife down the stairs and say, "Do you know what fight's going on? The fight that I predicted."
You did predict it.
And I got a huge erection, and it came all over the place. It is Zabit Magomedsharipov versus my
Brian
man
Ortega.
Hell yeah, for Mexico.
Sean Shelby literally saw the stream that Alex released from his genitals all the way from Las Vegas and decided this match had to happen. So, we're incredibly excited. It makes a lot of sense for the division for this to actually take place.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we're getting a Volkanovski versus Holloway rematch. That'll still be a really fun fight. I would have liked to see it percolate, ferment a little longer, get that alcohol content a little bit higher. I want moonshine more than I want beer.
But unlike my friend over here, I do not mind immediate rematches, and I am okay with Holloway getting his shot at his title back.
Redemption.
Yeah.
So, Ortega versus Magomedsharipov. I think this is going to be a very interesting fight, and I guess my main concern now that the fight has actually been made, I think it's a great fight for both fighters. I think it does a lot for both of them to move forward in their career for contendership, but the big question is, will it be a 3-round fight or a 5-round fight?
Will it be a main event? Because
even if it is a main event, that doesn't matter with Zabit.
That's true.
Remember,
that's
Zabit's the only fighter we've seen in like 5 years that wasn't a late replacement fight a 3-round fight in a main event.
Who not killed. He was gonna get fucked up by Cater round 4. I
still
promise
think
you that
I
much.
had Cater ahead on the scorecards, but regardless, it becomes a very interesting question. I think it needs to be 5 rounds. I think the UFC needs to stop protecting Zabit, because I think that's all you can call it. If you're the only 3-round main event for the last 5 years, that's being protected by the organization. It's just that hardcores loved Zabit, so they're not going to talk shit about him. But he's being protected, and especially if you're Brian Ortega, who is the quintessential, like, I will lose every round of the fight until I win. Until I win. Until I submit you. Like, he needs as many rounds as possible, and Ortega has shown 0 cardio issues. He's shown zero willingness to quit. The Holloway beating would have taken a lesser man out probably 10 to 20 times.
But he has that fighting spirit that's from LA, baby.
And it's from Modelo. Because he's brewed with the fighting spirit. Yeah, Brian Ortega made a decision.
Because he was a Mexican.
What? Anyways, I think a 5-round fight favors Ortega. I think a 3-round fight is more likely to favor Zabit.
Yes.
I don't think there's any way that they make it a 3-round fight. That just seems absolutely ludicrous. That would be too much.
Insane.
That would be too much. Like, the other one was already outrageous in my mind. This would be like 4 or 5 steps more outrageous. And then I feel like this is getting to boxing levels of protection, boxing levels of making the A side have as favorable a rule set as possible.
Which he's not the A side. Zabit is not the A side right now.
Especially not against Ortega.
Yeah, exactly. Ortega has way more fans than Zabit.
Unless it's like a market that the UFC is trying to get into, but the UFC keeps creaming themselves over the Mexican market. So I can't, like, they want the Mexican market so bad.
They also want the oil money too. they want the oil money. What can they say? I'm here to tell you the truth.
They do want to throw events in Saudi Arabia.
They
really
do want, yes, exactly.
So this is a bad, in a way, it's like a great and a bad event, because they want all of the Mexican pay-per-view buyers. Like,
the Ginger was over here looking at me. Is he gonna go there? Is he gonna go there?
But it is true. It is true. Like, Saudi Arabia is pumping a bunch of money into MMA right now, and they want that to keep happening. They want more events in Saudi Arabia.
Is the UFC in bed with Saudi Arabia?
I mean,
they are. They're sucking each other off.
But at the same time, it's like, I also would probably be inclined to throw an event in Saudi Arabia if they were going to pay me $100 million. And I could also sell the pay-per-view on top of it. Yeah. So, like, but I'm just worried the UFC is going to protect Zabit even further. And I think that is just ludicrous. It's like, what, are we going to give this man a 3-round title fight?
Yeah, I mean, his kryptonite is obviously cardio, right?
Later rounds.
It just makes sense from a championship perspective to give him the test that he needs. Yeah, and that's Ortega.
And make Ortega that test. He'll test his cardio. He'll test, you know, is he going to be able to not get finished? Because Ortega is the best finisher in the division, in my opinion. Yeah. And I think that this is going to really just come down to, like, is it a 3-round? Is it a 5-round? And then where's Ortega's chin at? after the beating from Holloway. And he's done everything right. He's taken tons of time off.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing that I've seen just as a fan tracking fighters. If they come back really soon after they took a little, quite a bit of damage,
huge mistake.
That's where the chin seems to actually deteriorate. Yeah. And this is all bro science. Let's be honest. No one really knows. But whenever a fighter has taken a significant time off and then they come back, it seems like, oh, their chin's still there. Like I think about Stipe Miocic, who fought a bunch of fights right in succession, then fought DC and was put out by a shot. Granted, he wasn't expecting it.
He was eating all day long.
Yeah, he ate that thing like a Tic Tac in the second fight. Probably expected it more, so that's why it's hard, but I think Ortega did everything right. I really want to see where he's at, though. There's so many questions after a beating like that. Like, where's his head at? Is he still going to be wanting to get back in title contention? Does he, like, where is he?
Also, I don't think Zabit's actually that good. We had him on the overrated fighters and stuff like that. He does have good striking. He does have good grappling and stuff like that. But honestly, he's good in the same way that Johnny Walker's good. Yeah. He's very, very innovative in the striking
like space. Young John Jones.
But unfortunately, like when he was fighting against Kattar, right? Somebody that actually has amazing boxing for a UFC fighter.
Fundamentals.
And he did work on him. He did work. I thought he won 2 out of 1. And that was all based on his boxing fundamentals.
You thought Kattar won 2 rounds, right?
Kattar won 2 rounds, yeah.
And it's interesting because what Sharipov does leave him pretty open. And Ortega is a very boxing-heavy fighter. I'm also very curious if Ortega is going to be able to work his snap-down game because Zabit is quite a bit taller and does like to fight at a longer range. Yeah. But bro, it's a really interesting matchup. It's a really fun fight. I can't see any way that it's boring because Zabit, the thing that is like super underrated about him is his ground game is actually phenomenal. Yeah. Like his ground game's really good. And it's very similar to what you were saying about his striking. Like his ground game's also very wild and he'll throw up like crazy. He did the Sulov stretch, right? Like just the most insane submissions. So even if it goes to the ground, I think that would be a super interesting matchup because I think Ortega is much like more bread and butter jiu-jitsu, whereas Zabit, whether that's just his personality, he likes to pull off crazy shit or go for crazy stuff. Who knows? Maybe he'll land something crazy Ortega doesn't expect.
Well, I think it's interesting because I think crazy always gets fucked up by consistency.
I think good, tight fundamentals beat crazy when fundamentals expect crazy. Yeah. That's the issue. Crazy's advantage is that it does stuff that is wild and maybe defensively unsound, but if it's something somebody doesn't expect, it's really hard to capitalize on it. Mm-hmm. Once you know that it's coming, like I'd say Anderson versus Walker.
It has diminishing returns.
Exactly. It's like, okay, this man's wild. All right, I just need to stay real tight and not get, like, Cody Garbrandt versus Dominic Cruz as well. Yeah. Like Dominic Cruz throws a lot of really looping stuff. Cody expected it because he went through fucking 4 camps with Alpha Male to beat Dominic Cruz. And then he's just kept really tight 1-2. Like Zabit, we know he's going to throw wild spinning stuff. If you know spinning stuff's coming, you can watch for the spinning stuff because it takes a long time. Like spinning stuff takes 2 seconds longer to land. So I think if Ortega is at all a similar fighter to when he was in contendership, I think he should be able to win, even with the striking that he was showing, which isn't awesome, but it is still very, like, in your face, pressure based. I think that will tire out Zabit. I am worried, though. I don't want to see Ortega take more damage. I don't like that his main defense is his chin. And I think that we will see 2 rounds of Zabit teeing off on Ortega, regardless of who wins. And then if Ortega can come back and get it, we just don't know if Ortega has the chin to take the 2 rounds.
Yeah, exactly. And I would say, again, bro science and all that, I think that getting cracked over and over again by pillow hands, Holloway, he probably still has a chin. Yeah. He probably still has a chin. And it wasn't his chin that was going during that fight. It was his eyes, it was his cheeks.
That's true.
His face was melting off his skull.
And he's a handsome guy, so I'm glad they threw in the towel because he's a good-looking dude, like surfing Jesus, jiu-jitsu Jesus. I think, though, I think you're right. Unfortunately, I don't like when fighters take blows like that just for their own longevity's sake. Yeah. I think Ortega will get it done. I think he's going to have to go.
Submission in the 4th round. I think it's a 5-round fight.
Sub in the 4th round. I think sub in the 3rd round actually is pretty good call, just after seeing what Kattar was able to do. If Kattar had like true knockout power for the division, I think he would have put Zabit out in that third round, honestly. But that being said, guys, tell us down below who you think is going to win. Tell us are you as upset with the 5-round versus 3-round treatment that Zabit's getting? Because that's the thing, actually.
We're furious
like,
about
it's
that.
the thing in the UFC that makes me the most upset. And as much as people talk about, like, Conor getting favorable matchups and Conor being protected by the UFC, I don't think anyone's as protected as Zabit. And I don't understand. Like, Islam is not as protected. Khabib never been protected. So I don't understand why Zabit is the one that's getting protected.
Yeah.
Like, Islam's been thrown to the dogs against really good fighters that aren't super well known over and over and over again. And I think he's a much better prospect than Zabit is.
Yeah, I agree.
So I'm so confused. Anyway, guys, tell us that. Make sure you subscribe and turn those notifications on for daily MMA videos. We'll see you guys next time. So, bye.